Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, Miraculous Ladybug, and Ruby. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing the latest episode of the English dub of Miraculous Ladybug, Dark Cupid. Delaney and I discuss the English version of Miraculous Ladybug every week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can find out more at overlyanimated.com. We have only seen the episodes that have aired in the United States on Nickelodeon, and we have not seen the future episodes from France and Korea. So yeah, no spoilers, and you're fine if you have only been watching on Nick just like us. So let's get right into Dark Cupid. Very interesting, as always, episode of Miraculous Ladybug. Delaney, what did you think?
I liked the episode. Shockingly, I know, it's such a shocker that Delaney would like this episode. But I liked the episode. I liked what was going on, and of course, Valentine's Day is a week away. The pacing in the episode was really weird. I feel like the episode went really, really fast. And I don't know if I'm always one who's the pacing, which is really, Delaney, are we going to complain about this every week? But I feel like this episode went crazy fast. It wasn't and episodes can go fast, and you can notice that it goes fast and it can be fine, but I don't it was just really weird watching the episode this week. It was just, something was just not quite right.
I think that's it's the pacing is notable for the show frequently. I don't think it's just this one, but yeah, it was we spent a lot of time in the intro, and then once they returned, I don't know, it was just very fast, I think.
Well, it's honestly a normal Ladybug episode, but on fast forward.
Yeah, it was a very fast-paced one. I mean, there's a few that are like this. It's just the show in general.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. It's not it prevents the show from getting too in depth in its storytelling, but it also prevents it from being boring. So I think that's the main thing.
Yeah,
for
well,
me.
definitely when with this, the way the show is, we have the same thing every week. I'm fine. It was very noticeable.
What did you think of all our shipping stuff happening?
Well, Alia was on point as usual.
Okay, that's not necessarily what I meant when I was asking that, but
no,
yeah.
I know. I liked it. It was cute. This episode made me a bit more okay with the ships as a whole. It was cute.
Yeah, I mean,
it was so unbelievably frustrating when Marinette read the poem. I rolled so hard.
Typical type of the show. They just yeah.
I think so. I liked it. The shipping was cute in this episode. It was fine. I could, if it happens, I'll be okay with it. It was cute. It was solidly cute. But it was physically painful. The poem and what does he mean disguise? Physically painful.
Yeah, it was really dumb.
Really bad. It hurt. Really? Must we? And then, of course, she sent the Valentine. Of course, she didn't sign it, because typical.
Yeah.
Though the Ladybug thing was really cute. I enjoyed that immensely. And then we had a healthy dose of panic about Alia, which is always great.
Yeah. I think this episode is all right. I don't think it's one of the top tier episodes of the show. It reminded me a little bit of our first episode, the Bubbler and ones like that, which when the human parts, the non-hero parts are very focused on the love aspect of the show, which is which at least they interestingly explored here, and it crosses over into the hero stuff. But I think
we can forgive, because it's a Valentine's Day episode.
Yeah, which is weird because, one, I mean, obviously this episode didn't air on Valentine's Day in any other country. Two,
wait a minute.
Let's talk about Nickelodeon's schedule. They're taking off literal Valentine's Day next week instead of airing this episode next week and taking off this week. So I don't understand them. But yeah, as of now, there's no dubbed episode airing next week on Nick. So we would not be podcasting then. Yeah, I don't get that. But yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, I think Marinette's character is a lot weaker when she's just pining over Adrian the whole time. I'm fine with that being an aspect of her character, but when it's the only aspect of her character we see, then she's not as.
I thought she was I thought it was good this episode though. She was very active and it was a very positive Marinette, and I think it was a nice change of
It
pace.
was a nice change of pace in that she like would like wanted to take action and stuff, right?
Yeah,
It did like dominate her character though. Which I mean, we've seen different aspects of Marinette, so it's not like I think that's her only aspect, and I think she's
yeah.
great. But she's a little, I think she's a little less sympathetic from my perspective when this is all she's doing. I mean, it's not like I don't think they can have this as part of her character. It's like a fundamental aspect of the show, but like there's going to be episodes like this, and then I think it's just like a natural consequence of the subject matter. I mean, I thought the villain was the concept is kind of interesting, and then I don't think they executed it that well.
Well, I thought it looked interesting.
Did
Like,
you like
there,
the lips thing, like the black lips?
yes, I really liked that. Especially like I really liked it, and then Adrian's lips actually turned black, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely game on. I'm board for this because before that they were only showing women, and I was like, I wanted to know if like the guy's lips turned black too, and it did, and I was pleased. Like I liked it. It looked cool.
Yeah, I think Adrian turning dark cat or whatever is like the most notable thing that the show does. Other than that, it's like kind of I mean, I do think the villain concept is interesting, but other than that, it's a little bit all expected. And
Well, it's Valentine's Day.
yeah, you know, just you can imagine this is a Valentine's Day episode for the show. I am a little bit surprised that they did the dark cat thing, which I think allowed them to explore um, stuff. I mean, what was the ultimate point of that? It got it to have Ladybug kiss him back. Like, is that the point of why they did that? I don't think there is a point to anything. It's just like a lot of
There wasn't a
a lot of
point.
the
It
show is
was
doing
just
stuff to do stuff, but I think it's a thing a lot of fans would respond to, especially people who are into that aspect. And
well, I think the big thing, like they do things like this to interrupt, like there's always something that stops them from finding out who the other one is. Like that's why they do this. It's just a constant obstacle.
I do also think the show is genuinely trying to mix it up. Like I think
Yeah.
we've seen that like this the show doesn't just want to be the same thing over and over, and making Adrian like team with the villain is pretty interesting. I think it's a little I mean it's a little unsatisfying to me to have just villains able to turn one of them so easily. It's like inconsistent power levels again from the villains. I feel like
Well, I think it's more of like, I mean, Cat typically gets hurt, air quotes. Like, he's typically the one who gets like, he always uses Cataclysm like super early in episode. He always like ends up kind of powered down. He got trapped in the freezer. Like, typically when the villains are like kind of have the upper hand, Cat's usually the one who like suffers. So I don't think this is necessarily like inconsistent. I mean, this is definitely the closest to not well, I can't really say closest to a victory, but like this is definitely like the closest to like or the most like the biggest power play we've had, but I don't think it's inconsistent. Like Cat tends to be the one who gets, hurt or like
he's definitely weaker. I
incapacitated.
could see yeah. I mean I guess if Ladybug was turned, that'd be more notable.
Yeah, no,
We're
if Ladybug had turned, that would have been like, what? Why?
We were talking about this last week, and we'll definitely get into our discussion last week on the dubbed version of Cat Noir. But one of the things we mentioned, I think you mentioned, is that he's super useless in the show. And one of the comments that we got in response to that is like, yeah, I think he's like supposed to be like the sidekick, useless one, and it's like the subversion on the typical gender roles of superheroes, which I like. You know, I think it's important to keep in mind that
Yeah, no,
he's
it is a subversion,
that
but
being said, he could be more useful. Like he can still be like
yeah.
the sidekick and be like
Well, the problem is the show doesn't play off of it. That's the thing. For it to be a true subversion, they have to play off of it. They don't. Like, there's never any Ladybug makes fun of him, but it's never really like the,
I think the show does play off of it in that like you mentioned, you're always fond of like talking about how everyone always like loves Ladybug and never mentions Cat
yeah,
Noir. Like I think stuff like that
sure.
is a subversion of that. We haven't gotten that in
Well,
a little bit, but
I was gonna say that that's the only example though, really, because in general, like,
we have seen that several times though, like with the
yeah,
statue and with just like Chloe constantly and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would just like it's a subversion, but like for me, it's like if they made it a little bit more, like if they made it a little bit more Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable ish, because like literally Ron like messes up all the time. And Cat Noir, like, he's not incompetent, but he's not really
And it's
competent
not that
either.
not that he's bumbling. He's just like he
Yeah.
just doesn't really do
Well, he
much.
doesn't have to be a bumbling idiot either. I don't know. Like, for me, it's not Like
I don't think
he's just
it's not at the
useless.
forefront of their minds. Yeah, and I think if it's
Yeah.
like in the background, then maybe he does come off too useless. Like he's very weak here. Obviously, he just instantly gets turned. But
Well,
I guess that's not really him being weak. It's more of him protecting Ladybug, right? So what would have happened if Ladybug had the arrow, right? Then would we have gotten Dark Ladybug? Then that's a little bit unsatisfying if villains can just
that would
instantly
have been
do
well,
that.
that would have been super OP. There would have been no hope for
Yeah, there's no
anyone.
hope. Yeah, right. So it's. I mean, I guess that's the other point is that Marinette was able to fight back from that, whereas Cat wouldn't have.
Like it would be an interesting episode to have if Ladybug is incapacitated for some reason, and then he has to like do everything.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that, but it would be interesting, I guess.
Well, I think we need it if because my thing is like because what bothers me about Cat is that like he's like the super charming whatever like cat hero, but then like and of course Ladybug's like go away like whatever, but we have that character, but on top of that he's useless. But like they don't play off the fact that he's useless. He's just like the charming like cat pun guy. Does that make sense? Like, that's why it's irritating.
Yeah, I think that given that he doesn't do much, combined with him being super annoying in the dub, it creates not a very sympathetic character for us. Let's discuss that. So last week we were talking about how I was like I've been trying to give Cat Noir his fair shot, and I still like Adrian, but I'm a little bit out on Cat Noir now. He said "milady" 3 times last week. He didn't say it. I don't think any times this week. I thought I heard one like I was
He
watching
said
it.
it once.
Yeah, I guess he
He
would
said it
said it
once.
once. I didn't notice it in the episode, but
She like when she dropped in, he was like, "Oh, are you dropping in to see
oh
Milady?"
yeah.
Or
And we had the subversion of 2 weeks ago's and reverse Spider-Man upside down thing. It happened
I
like
did enjoy.
I made that the screenshot of this, and it's yeah. So last week, a lot of talk about how dubbed version of Cat Noir is probably more annoying because obviously, like, I think probably everyone who's listening is like a big fan of Cat Noir. So I think there's two aspects. Basically, one is that I'm sure that the dubbed version of Cat Noir is more annoying than the French or I mean they're all dubbed because the show is intentionally in multiple languages, but like the English version of him. So I think that what we've concluded in talking to people, I said last week that I'm sure he doesn't say "milady" in French, and he actually says, and as people have said, he actually says "my lady" in French, which people are like, oh, he does say the same thing. But I think that's very much a very different thing because he's saying
My Lady and Milady are two different things.
okay, there's two aspects here. One, he's talking in English in the French version, saying "my lady," which is different than saying "my lady" in English in English.
Yeah.
Two, "milady" has a lot of negative connotations in our language, especially sexist ones. So, saying "my lady" would be much different. And as one commentator said on our YouTube page, shout out to everyone on YouTube, is that "madame" would be like a really good correlation because if you said that in English, it'd be the French, like a French word in English, and whereas like "my lady" would be an English word in French, and it doesn't have those associations with it. I think if he said "madame," it would be a lot less unsympathetic. Although honestly, that'd probably still annoy me. But if he said it in
Yeah.
his current voice, like I think his voice is a little bit of a problem too. Not gonna lie.
That's the thing. Like it's very like just irritating. Like
I didn't find him as irritating this episode.
no, I was about to say
Yeah.
he was not irritating actually at all in this episode. I actually kind of felt bad for Cat Noir, which is very
I
rare.
don't know if
That
I'd
doesn't
go that
happen.
far, but yeah, I didn't find him irritating, I guess. Why did you feel bad for him?
Well, it just sucked. He was gonna tell Ladybug how he felt, and even though I don't ship them, like I was like, "Oh, poor your cat."
I did
And
think
of
it was
course, it's even
interesting.
funnier because like,
Yeah, that they were going to do that. They didn't build up
and
to
then
it from this side.
Adrian like moping around was pretty good.
I guess they built up with the thing, but we saw like Ladybug prepping to do it. It was a little bit unexpected, even though we'd seen the card. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was interesting. Yeah. So the status of him, I also think there's an element which is legitimate. Like this is not the type of character Delaney and I generally like, super like.
no,
It's not, and not that we're two separate people. We can like different characters, but in general, we tend to agree that the annoying, ostentatious male characters are not
yeah,
very sympathetic. So
very much.
it's a personal preference thing. In addition to him probably being much more annoying on the dub.
Yeah,
Thanks everyone to being respectful about that opinion. That was a little bit unexpected. Like I was like,
yeah.
your fave's annoying, and then everyone was like, like that's okay. So cool, you guys are cool.
Like yeah, it's like at last a fandom bit.
I mean, I'm sure this fandom has its share of problems, but at
Oh,
least we're
of
being
course,
respectful here. Yeah.
that's true.
And I'm
Since we're literally like the main ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue to. I mean, there's like four different ships. Like I said, I'd be much more interested in Adrian ships than cat ships, especially
Same.
Adrian Ladybug. I think it'd be super interesting. Um, but and I'm gonna continue to give Cat Noir's like a fair shot. I just still it's just a little bit tough with the way he's presented in the English version.
I should probably say I'm not like I probably am anti-cat just right now in any of his ships because I'm like, Cat Noir. But like, I probably like am not anti-Marinette and Adrian, but I'm not pro. Like, I'm not actively shipping them.
Yeah, I mean, neither
Like,
am
it's
I.
like
Like, yeah, it's. Then again, I don't really think I'm actively shipping Alia Marinette. Like, I just that would be my preferred. Like, I actively ship very little anymore in any show, so that would just be my preferred. And then
Marinette and Ollie are probably the closest I am to actively
yeah,
shipping it.
and then I'd be interested in Adrian and Ladybug. The problem is that the one I always see fan art of is Cat Noir and Marinette, which is the one I like the least. So that's a little tough.
I never see that actually. Well, I shouldn't say never. I typically see more Ladybug and Cat Noir fan art, but like
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
we scroll. Well, me and you scroll through Tumblr very differently, so
I see very sporadic things on my dash. There's only like one or two people or those.
I
But
follow everyone on Tumblr.
yeah,
So
I follow very few people. So like it's I don't know. They would I'm worried about them going down the Cat Noir Marinette route. Like I don't think that that's
yes,
necessarily the I don't necessarily trust them to get that dynamic right. Although obviously like it's it's up to them and we'll see. But it's that's like a tough one. Like the guy who's like being like I don't know, confident with the super confident and like encroaching on the girl who's not interested type of thing. That's not my favorite
it's very
dynamic.
much power play. Like it's very
Yeah.
much super. Like it's not okay.
Yeah, I mean it's like if Marinette's interested, but she's not
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. So I mean I don't blame people for shipping. I'm not like saying you can't ship it
Yeah,
because in a
you can
certain
ship it every time.
circumstance it could be interesting. An episode can do certain circumstances in one episode. It can change on a dime, right? Maybe it's already happened and we don't know it yet. So
True.
we should continue not to know. By the way, yes, no spoilers. Thank you.
Yes, don't tell us.
But yeah, it's so
We don't.
we'll see where it goes. I do think I was kind of interested in Adrian writing the poem in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting. I think we've seen less Adrian than I would have liked and more Cat. Like we've seen a lot of Marinette as Marinette and not as Ladybug, but I don't know. I haven't seen that much Adrian as Adrian recently.
That's I really liked this because it was very. And I have noticed that really it is more like Adrian like pining after Ladybug than like because typically it's Marinette, Adrian, and then Marinette becomes Ladybug. But with Adrian, it's very much Adrian's like always Cat almost. Like he doesn't act like he's not the same per. He's the same person, but like he doesn't act like Cat. But he like does that make sense? He doesn't seem to like flip it on and off the way that Marinette does.
I buy Marinette as being that's like generally I call Marinette if you've noticed I call Marinette when she's Marinette when she's Ladybug I still call her Marinette. Cat Noir though I call him Cat Noir and not Adrian because they seem like two different people to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I think
but like
the show maybe needs to eliminate that like contrast a little bit.
well, it's
They,
very much like they really are different people. And but what I meant was that like Adrian, he's always thinking he's still like Marinette isn't thinking about Cat Noir when she's Marinette. Like she's just Marinette. Like and then I'm granted this is also has to do with the fact that Cat Noir likes Ladybug, and so Adrian's like Ladybug. I don't know. Like I feel like we get a very much more like there's not as much separate like in character, yes, but in like actions, there's not as much separation with Adrian and Cat Noir. Like this poem, and like they've
yeah.
had similar
Okay.
situations where like he's thinking about Ladybug. He wants to know what Ladybug's doing. Like, but Marinette's very much
Yeah.
like I'm Marinette right now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do school things.
So I think Marinette's character is more consistent, like in terms of personality. But I agree, like when Marinette is Marinette, she's very focused on Adrian, but that does not carry over at all to when she's Ladybug. She like is like I'm gonna be focused now on saving the day and stuff. It
So
doesn't seem like she.
arguably, we could
Have
probably
we
say
seen
that
Marinette as Ladybug express interest in Adrian at all? I can't remember any times when that's happened.
maybe once, but I don't even really think it was like should we even have we haven't had an episode I don't think where Ladybug like has to rescue Adrian or anything. Not really.
Yeah, which is what I
Like there's the bubbler, but like it's not really like that.
which is what I'm interested in. But yeah, it's that is true. Adrian, I think that what you see is a result of less of a characterization for Adrian and Cat Noir in general, so that they share basically their singular, the singular thing
Well,
about him.
that's what I was going to say is that like I think we talk about we complain a lot about like Marinette's fixation on Adrian, but really based on character, Adrian's character is really and Cat Noir, his character really is the one that completely rotates around his romantic feelings for Ladybug.
Yeah. I think Marinette's a super, which is why I was a little bit annoyed with Marinette being so focused on it this episode. I think Marinette's just a super well fleshed out
Yes.
character right now. And yeah,
Like,
no,
I want to be Marinette's friend.
yeah, definitely. Like, she's definitely like the fave and everything. And I think that that's not the same for Adrian or Cat Noir. I think he's a very singular, focused character. Like we haven't seen his feelings at all about being a hero or anything like that. His dynamic with Plog is very superficial. Which
Plog is the lamest, which is
Plog, this episode I think had the best Plog of any Plog though.
I mean, like by best, I mean it was the most Plog. Like he was the ploggiest Plog he could be. But
No,
like,
he actually had a monologue that wasn't about cheese though. Like he said
this
something.
is true.
He said something about.
But
By the
he
way,
was
apparently
holding
Plog
cheese
is
the
much
entire
different
time.
in the dub than in French.
What? How different can he be? All he does is eat cheese. There's only so many ways you can like have dialogue over him eating cheese. I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, people say that "pounded" in French is like "we did it" or something. I don't remember. I really like "pounded" though. I think
No,
actually,
I like
like
pound.
I think that makes a ton of sense if you're gonna dub it and there's like and they're pounding it and then that's a concept in English. Then you should apply that.
I'm
Like,
a lot okay with that.
yeah.
Than like we did it. Like this isn't
I don't
Dora.
remember.
Pound it.
No,
That's
I don't remember. It's not "we did it," but it's something like that. You know, like I think it makes
I like
sense,
it.
and that phrasing, if you're not like a native English speaker, may not make sense, but basically means the same thing. So,
Yeah,
it's that works as like a thing to connect between the languges.
plus dubbing.
I
In this
wonder
one instance.
in this one instance, yeah. I mean, I think this episode is finally dubbed. I didn't really see anything
Yeah.
that annoyed me. Let's go through some things quickly. Oh, the fairy tale thing in the beginning was dumb. That's another thing. Why are they studying like
Continue to see different though.
what?
This is like the third teacher we've seen.
Is she different? I didn't even remember. Yeah.
I think she's different. We might have had her earlier and it's just been a while because they had like the science teacher or whatever for a bit.
I mean, this whole scene was just, here's the thing. I don't like, how can you expect me to love this episode when like we have a scene where the teacher asks like what the moral is, and it's like love wins over hate. It's my big thing with the show is I don't want to feel childish watching it. And this intro scene made me think that the show is a little childish. So I was not a big fan of that. Then again, we got the Valentine stuff, which I thought was interesting. Oh, Chloe's cruelty to hamster petition thing, tricking Adrian to sign the thing was funny, I thought.
Well, the whole time I was like, really?
And she was like, they put them in these ridiculous sweaters, right? Like, yeah, they're good at keeping Chloe consistent with her focus. Yep. Deep down inside, he's. Oh yeah, okay. So I wanted to talk about Tiki here. So Tiki is.
Were you really extra creeped out by Tiki?
Well, it just doesn't make any sense. Why does she like encouraging Marinette to like he's talking about you? Now that I'm creeped out by Tiki and know that she's like an all powerful like eternal being, then her giving like love advice to Marinette is not working for me. Especially in this voice. I don't know. What did you think of this? I thought this was the most weird Tiki has been.
I mean, it was definitely again like there was a lot of Tiki in this episode. Like she was coming out a lot. Like Tiki's just popping out of the bag with all sorts of like tidbits, and I'm like, what are you doing? And this is also kind of out of character because typically she's like, calm down. Like we need to get to work. Like Ladybug, we got stuff to do. But no, I don't know. It was very weird. I got a little weirded out. I don't get weirded out the way you do because I'm not like terrified of Tiki.
Oh, I'm terrified. No, I'm terrified of Tiki. Yeah.
No, like I understand why you're terrified of Tiki, but I'm not. And I'm just like, it was pretty weird. Like I was like, Tiki, you need to. Like there was just so much Tiki and Plog in this episode. It was like, why?
We established this character of Max in this episode, and I was sure he was going to be the one that gets akumatized, and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because he's there for no reason. That's great. I'm sure he'll be a villain later. It's that
you said to introduce him.
Yeah. Love is like baseball, right? Says Kim. France isn't like huge on baseball. They're kind of like there's baseball there. I wonder if that was what it was in French. I assume it was, but they could have just been like Americanizing the jock. I'm not sure.
Wait, love. Like you would assume he would have been like soccer.
It would have made more sense, but there is baseball there. I know.
Well, he would have said like football, but
It's yeah. What do we think of Kim's usage here? He has the whole thing with him and
Also,
Chloe.
I thought he was just really good at running. I thought he was like on the track
Yeah,
team or
yeah,
something.
he raced Time Girl Alex earlier in the
Alex,
season. Yeah, so I don't know why that was happening, but
weird. Let us know. What did he say?
uh,
Did he actually say baseball? I'm
that's not the
assuming
important
not.
part. What do we? I don't know. I don't think he's the most interesting character, and I didn't think he
No.
was like the most interesting person
He's just a jock. Like,
to
of
turn
course
into
we're not
like him.
interested
I
in
thought it
him.
was interesting that like he's like the jock and Chloe like is like rejecting him, right? So
Yes,
I think
that
that's kind of
was.
interesting.
It's not a fun subversion though. I just felt bad for Kim. Like,
Yeah. You of all people should know about ladybugs, said Alia to Marinette.
panic.
Dumb, 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 dumb. It was on my
I
blog this
enjoyed.
week. You read it, didn't you? And oh, come on,
Yeah,
Marinette. Why aren't you reading Alia's blog? Like, come on.
that smile was so precious. Like, of course I read your blog.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we talked about the Dark Cupid concept. When did oh yeah, it's Chloe takes the picture of him.
Oh, and the
She's
ladybug came in the window,
yeah, the ladybug. What do you
which
think
was
of the
super.
actual ladybug?
I liked it. I thought it was great. And then, of
Mm.
course, at the end when it came in for Adrian, I was like, "This is cute. I like this." It doesn't mean anything, but I like it. Also, I think this is the first time we've seen an actual ladybug in the show,
Probably,
like a
yeah.
real live
Yeah.
ladybug.
I didn't know that they
Interesting.
what if they like didn't exist in this universe? You're
Um,
just speechless to that stupid question. So, uh,
yes, I actually
we
could
have
not
what do we
form
think of
it.
this whole thing with Chloe's giant picture of of Adrian? This is kind of dumb.
She's so obnoxious.
It's kind of dumb. I
I
like
enjoy that it's like framed.
yeah. Uh, oh yeah, Chloe texting all of them, and then Ollie's like, since when did she start texting us? That's good. And
I
then we
think
have later we have the Alia, or maybe it was now Alia and Marinette's like handshake thing. That was like the big
I
moment.
was I freaked out. I was like, they have a secret handshake. They're
Yeah,
so cute.
it's canon. Yeah, obviously.
They're adorable. Love it. I'm here for this.
I like Marinette using like her Lucky Charm yo-yo thing as like a shield. This time, I don't know if she's done that before, but she did that a
She's
lot
I,
here.
well, she's done it before, but like it's more obvious here because he was firing arrows at her. She
Yeah,
tends to deflect things with it.
we had Dark Sabrina for a second. Cat Noir.
Also, Sabrina like picked Chloe up and like carried her away. Did you not see that?
I guess that is true.
That was I was if I could have paused it, I would have been like, wait a minute, what was that?
Does it grant them strength, or is she just strong? I don't know. Uh,
I just really like it was like a Scooby and Shaggy moment, and it was kind of beautiful.
the whole thing with we have the kiss, we have uh, yeah, stuff turn into
Shippers
pumpkins.
everywhere rejoice.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't actually like that's like the ship tease. So I don't know. I
Well, I
would.
mean, I think it says a lot, I guess, for Ladybug, like Marinette's character, who's like, "Ew, I have no desire to
Yeah,
kiss
she's
him," but
like, I'm
like,
not looking forward to this either, right? So
but it's more of like shoot for the good of.
mhm. I don't know. I feel
I
like
don't know.
this might have been further away than closer with this
I
moment.
don't like I don't like the concept, but like it worked. I don't know. Like it was surprisingly, I didn't hate it. I don't know.
It
I
was
guess it makes it
whatever.
better for because she didn't act like that sounds terrible. Like, it's better because she didn't actually want to kiss him.
It was like I don't know how much would you have reacted as a shipper. It's meaningless on both sides, right? So,
Yeah, like
mm. Not signs, didn't sign the card. Could it have come from Ladybug? Yeah, and then no progress made. Hooray!
woo.
So yeah, I don't know, middle of the road episode.
It was just one of those episodes where they like act like they're gonna change the status quo and they don't. Granted, we don't actually expect them to ever change anything, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean it
know.
was okay.
It was more interesting, I suppose, than what
Let
they've
us
done
know
in
what
the
you
past.
thought of this. Let us know your feedback on our shipping proclivities. And yeah, we're three until we get to the break, which is we're not sure if Nick's taking a break or not. Again, no new one on Nick next week apparently, and then we'll get Horrificator on the 21st.
Horrific. What?
Horrificator. It's
Incredible.
like the villain name, right? I assume.
We'll have Valentine's Day and then we'll have a Halloween episode.
I guess.
Who knows?
Yeah. Cool. I'm Dylan Nice, and that's Delaney Stovall, overlyanimated.com. Everything about this podcast, you can comment there too, or can leave us comments on YouTube or Tumblr asks. Support us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, Shana, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, and Rachel, aka Hey and Effie, Mitch, Cordell, Diversity Reach Exchange, Buzz Like Your Mailman, and Rachel Rose. We will be back with next week. We'll have the Ruby season finale and Gravity Falls series finale podcast, and then we'll be back with the show in 2 weeks when it comes on the air again. Cool. Ooh. Last comments.
It was okay.
Wow, that's a great last comment.
I don't know. It was cute, I guess.
It was cute, I guess. This was also one of the
currently have a crush, so I feel for Adrian and both. I feel for both of them actually.
Just
so
like
them.
everyone in the show.
Yeah.
It was one of the earlier episodes in production, so that's interesting. So yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.